The process, Danny Ayalon is Israel's Deputy Foreign Minister, and he joins us from New York. Good to speak with you, sir. Let me take up an issue from New York. That's correct. Let me take up an issue that was just raised by Tony Blair, who is the envoy for the quartet, as you know. Do you expect that Israel will agree to put on the table a set of new proposals on security and borders? It is a set of proposals that the quartet is requesting in the next 3 months. Do you see that happening?
Well, we certainly hope so. I wouldn't put anything as inconceivable. We really would like to look for some creative ways out of this impasse, and we did not reject the quartet statement. I think it had very interesting and positive elements. I hope the Palestinians will not reject it either, so we can come to the table and be forward-looking and not acrimonious, as we have seen the statement, unfortunately, of Abu Mazen in the UN.
Okay, you saw that as a negative statement?
Well, I would say Abu Mazen didn't have to really put so much of the burden on Israel and nothing on the Palestinians, because it takes two to make peace, and we have been waiting for them at the table. We are willing to discuss everything. All issues are interrelated and should be discussed simultaneously. There's nothing that we want to hide under the table or under the rug. Come and talk. This is what we are expecting them to do.
You believe, you talked a moment ago about talks that will lead away from the impasse, but you also believe that the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, should annex more land in the West Bank. Do I have your position correct on that?
No. What I have said was that if, unfortunately, the Palestinians decide to go unilaterally to the United Nations, and this is against all the agreements that we signed with them, you know, we have their signature on a paper that they will not go to the United Nations, but they will sit with us bilaterally. If they do this, they abrogate all the agreement. And what would that mean for future agreements if there is no faith and trust in the partners? What I said is that if Abu Mazen and the Palestinians go unilaterally to the United Nations, then it releases us from all our obligations, and then we'll have to take steps according to our interest. We don't want to do that. We would like to work jointly with the Palestinians. And even Mr. Netanyahu, he said in his speech at the UN that Israel would like to be the first country, the first nation that supports a Palestinian state, to bring it together, joining hands to the General Assembly and Security Council. By the way, we have a great precedent, and that is South Sudan. South Sudan joined the UN just a few months ago after very bloody conflict for 3 decades. But they still ironed out all the differences on bilateral negotiations between the parties, and then they brought it to the UN for endorsement. You cannot put the process on its head.
All right. So, well, let me ask you then, what is your reaction then to today's development that Abu Mazen has, in fact, issued the letter to Ban Ki-moon asking for recognition of a Palestinian state? We're talking about this as though it hasn't happened. It's happened.
It did happen, but everything is reversible. A letter that was lodged on the table of the Security Council can be retracted. I think it's very important that we will do the process bilaterally. You cannot create a state virtually from a resolution in New York. It has to be done on the ground, real actions on the ground, and we are waiting and ready. We have done a lot of compromises to the Palestinians, and we are ready to do more. But they also will have to do some compromises, and this is where we should meet.
Can I get just one point? Give me 1 point of real contention here where you believe, in your heart of hearts, the Palestinians have to meet you at a position farther along than where they are right now. Give me one.
I'll tell you, yes. You know, everybody talks about occupation and settlement, and this is something which does not correspond with the truth. You know, settlement, the conflict predated settlement. Settlement started only after the war of 1967. Before 1967, Israel was not in possession of the West Bank or Gaza. And still, there was no peace and there was no conflict. I'm afraid that it's not a territorial issue. It's an issue of recognition. And the Palestinians should accept Israel's right to be there out of our own history and out of our own rights. And only when they do that, we can really negotiate on par. You know, we have respected and recognized the right of the Palestinians for self-determination. We would like them to accord us the same thing.
The President of the United States has said settlement activity should stop. You know that settlements really stand as a real hindrance to talks moving forward, but you're saying that the Palestinians have to give more in that area, correct?
Absolutely. Look, we have done away all the settlements in Gaza. If you recall, 2005, Israel removed 21 settlements in Gaza, all of them. 4 more, by the way, it wasn't noticed, but 4 more in the West Bank as well. 25 settlements were removed as a down payment to the Palestinians. But we didn't see really peace coming from Gaza. But we saw Hamas taking over and challenging Abbas and the Palestinian Authority. They get help, unfortunately, from Iran. And Iran really is not playing a role here which is constructive, on the contrary. So I think the Palestinians should look beyond the interest of other powers in the region and think about themselves as we do.
Yeah.
And if we sit together without any strangers, any third parties, maybe we can have a breakthrough.
I wish we had more time together. Danny Ayalon is Israel's Deputy Foreign Minister, and he joins us from New York. Danny, appreciate it. Thank you for your time, sir.